Hi there, my name is McCarty. I'm a local foods and small farms extension educator with University of Illinois Extension, serving Daviess, Stephenson, and Winnebago counties. This week on Get Growing, we're talking about the squash family, telling you when you can start harvesting your zucchini, how you can tell the difference between the male and the female flowers, and what are some steps you can take to scout for those insects that typically target this squash family. The squash family includes a lot of members that we typically grow during the summertime, such as zucchini, yellow squash, watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumbers, but also those winter squashes like a butternut, gourd, or a pumpkin. They tend to have very similar plant characteristics, so they will have very big leaves to them that have a lot of kind of surface area. They will also have a mixture of male and female flowers, which will be either yellow or orange. And sometimes these flowers will be very big, which is what you see here on this pumpkin plant, or they might be very small, as we think of like a cucumber flower. They may also have a vining characteristic to them too. So this pumpkin plant actually starts to my right, and it produces very long vine that actually works its way behind me. And off of the vine, we have these very tiny pumpkins just now that are starting to be produced. Zucchini can be harvested when it's about 6 to 8 inches in length, which is really kind of what you see here. Any bigger than that, and you may find the quality just isn't as good. The other thing you want to do is that when you harvest your zucchini, try to clip it from the main part of the plant and leave a bit of a stem, which is what you see here. This will just mean that you could use your zucchini over the next couple days and don't necessarily have to use it that day up. When it comes to identifying the male or the female flowers of the squash family members, they'll look pretty similar. The color will be similar, the shape of the flower will also be very similar. The one difference though is that right behind this flower you will see a very immature fruit or immature squash that hasn't developed just yet. And that will signify that this is a female flower. Both of these are male flowers because they do not have that swollen base right behind the flower. One of the questions we sometimes get at the extension office is, should I remove these male flowers? When I look at my plant, I already have a number of pumpkins that have developed. So I no longer need them in order to provide the cross-pollination to create my pumpkins this season. But as I've noticed this morning, both of them tend to be very active with a lot of bee activity. So these male flowers are still providing a source of nectar for my pollinators in the area, and I may keep them around because of that. When it comes to insect scouting this squash family, we're really looking for 3 different insects: squash vine borer, cucumber beetle, and squash bugs. Because it's still pretty early in the season, I've yet to see any sort of insect damage from those 3. However, I am trying to be pretty proactive to notice anything where they might be hiding or building up populations. When it comes to looking for these 3, you will look at different parts of your plant. For squash bugs, I would turn underneath all of their leaves and I would look for a grouping of copper red eggs, and that would be your squash bugs. I need to kill them on that leaf or actually hand remove them. For cucumber beetles, they tend to like to be in the flowers of the squash family. So for cucumbers that you see here, the flower is pretty small, and I may just have 1 or 2 in each of these flowers on this plant. If you think about a pumpkin plant where the flower is much bigger, you may find you have a lot more in there. For our final one, squash vine borer, I'm working my way all the way back to the main stem of my squash plant, and I'm looking for sawdust damage. That sawdust kind of frass is typically a good sign that I have a squash vine borer issue and I need to address it. When it comes to this initial insect scouting, which I am trying to do 2 or 3 times a week, I may find that this is all I need to figure out if I have a problem with those insects, or I may actually find out that I need to take the next steps when it comes to managing those 3 insects from causing severe damage on my squash plants. So that's this week on Get Growing. Remember, when it comes to insect scouting, looking for these insects like once or twice a week can be very helpful when it comes to keeping them under control and keeping them from severely damaging your crops. You may also find that the infestation is so severe that you need to take that next step and actually determine the pesticide that you could potentially use to target those insects. For more information on resources and upcoming events, please visit extension.illinois.edu/JSW or follow us on Facebook at Northwest Illinois Local Foods.